First of all, we need to know that people have relationships. Everybody has a relationship. But most people, relationships are really relationship of a separate ego individual to another person who is a separate ego individual, which is a physical body with mind and emotions. And to move on to the spiritual dimension, we might recognize, why is it that people like relationship? Why is it that people like love? What is it about love that brings people together? Why is love enhancing? Since this is non-science and non-duality, I'm not going to talk much about the science of it. I think Zaya mentioned yesterday there's been question about quarks, whether they exist or not. So it's controversial by now. But definitely everything is interconnected in the universe. That's what science shows and studies. Without that interconnectedness, there'll be no scientific laws and forces that govern the physical universe. But spirituality means going deeper than the usual ego self and its world of physicality and mind to a dimension of our spirit, our true being. And the usual classic experience is what's called non-dual, which is you wake up that you are pure consciousness, awareness, being. And there is a non-duality, meaning you and the beingness or the conscious are the same. And then the other meaning of non-duality is this beingness or consciousness or awareness is non-dual with everything else. Everything else is simply the outer expression of this consciousness. The other third meaning of non-duality is because everything, all forms, are simply formation of the formless spirit, of the formless true nature, formless true self, whether you call it Brahman or Dharmakaya or Shiva. There is no separation between one thing or another. All of it is one mosaic, one fabric, one cosmic expression, manifestation out of the consciousness, out of the fullness of being, of the truth of reality. So that the truth of reality, the fundamental truth, and expresses itself as the world and all the people in it. And that is what non-dual teaching, or most non-dual teaching, talk about. And that's what non-dual teachers usually talk about, that we are consciousness and it's non-dual and all of that. But from that perspective, as you see, there's no place for relationship, because the people are just part of the patterns of manifestation, part of the pattern of appearance, part of the matter of what the Indian philosophy called Maya. So because individuals and chairs and walls are all an expression of the consciousness. They're all made out of the pure, same consciousness, the same beingness. So how do relationships happen? For there to be relationship, there's just one unified truth. That is the consciousness and its appearance as the totality of the universe, including all of our experiences. They're all just manifestation of that consciousness. That is the classic mystical experience of oneness, unity, non-duality. But you see, to really understand the relationship, there need to be more than one. Right? I mean, even if you have a relationship with yourself, what does that mean? You have to separate yourself. There has to be one, and there is another, and more than one, at least two. And how does that happen? if everything is an expression, as a formation out of the formless? Well, you need to go deeper in understanding non-duality, which many non-dual teaching and teachers don't take. A step they don't usually take, because they just say, well, everything is just an appearance, everything is an illusion. You just need to stay and abide in this purity of stillness, consciousness, and love, and bliss. And you're free. And true, when we are that, we recognize that, we are free. Completely free, because our true nature, our true self, or true beingness is totally free and doesn't suffer. And it is always manifesting, creating, displaying the world as one unified fabric. One thing we can explore is that this unified fabric not only manifests form, it manifests particular form we call beings. Beings are not the same thing as rocks. And I don't know whether conscious agents, as Donald mentioned, will fit in that realm of beings. He thinks maybe in time. But beings mean it is consciousness, it is awareness itself, extending itself into its own appearance as itself, but appearing as an individual. That is conscious, is made out of consciousness, and is, however, has the capacities that cosmic pure consciousness doesn't have, which is it has responsiveness, it has listening, it has understanding, it has thinking, all of that. That's what I call individual consciousness, or the organism consciousness. So the boundless consciousness individualizes itself into beings, and we are those beings. The most obvious example are humanity, humans, but of course all animal life, all conscious life. Now, when you think about it, people who talk about, I am just Brahman, I am just the boundless infinite consciousness. Who the hell is experiencing that? Who knows that? How does that happen? Does it happen without some being knowing it? A being is necessary for that, which is a truth that many non-dual teachings sort of not quite address. Some of them do, as we will see later. But many of them they talk about human beings, but what is a human being? I thought last night, Shanti gave a good example of the movement to transcendence and embodiment, talks about human being, but he didn't explain what is a human being. Human being is nothing but the being that consciousness sort of expresses itself as and through a particular being, many particular being, and this particular being can develop and learn to all the way to the point of recognizing itself as the boundless beingness. Otherwise, there is no way for the boundless beingness or for the divine or for the spiritual nature to know itself. Spiritual nature needs a being to know its infinity, an individual being. Now this individual being, there are many, and then relationship can happen. Now you can have a relationship where the individual being doesn't know it is an expression of the infinite consciousness. It just experiences itself as a separate self, which is how most people experience themselves. And there can be a relationship, but the way I see it, that is a reflection of what is a real relationship is. Because the real relationship happens between this being who is an expression of the infinity of consciousness, but that has not forgotten that it is conscious, still recognizes itself as pure presence, as pure consciousness. And it is recognized, it is as an extension, an expression of this consciousness through which the infinity expresses itself. Then, the infinite can have a relationship through one individual to another. Then, and in fact, the pure consciousness gives the individual the capacity of what relating means. Relating means relating to somebody, but not just talking to them or doing something to them, but knowing that the other person is a conscious being. And not only a conscious being, but a conscious being like me is an expression of being, expression of consciousness. Not only expression of consciousness, but has a sensitivity, has an understanding, has a sensibility, and has a uniqueness. One thing wonderful about our true nature is that when it expresses itself as these conscious beings, each one of them is different and unique, has a uniqueness that sort of distinguishes it from all other beings. No human beings, repeat, they're always different. And this difference makes it possible for there to be a relationship from a true human being to another true human being with the potentialities of all the possibilities that pure consciousness or true being has, which has the potentiality of compassion, love, awareness. All of that appears through the individual. And one of the main things that is needed for there to be a relationship is that this individual need to have sensitivity. Sensitivity not about ourselves, but about the other. They need to have empathy. They have to have attunement. Otherwise, the relationship is a relationship of robots, machines, really. If you don't have attunement, if you don't recognize that this person you're talking to, you're relating to, they are the unique being and they are an expression of the same preciousness as you are. So if you see that, you not only value them, but you see who they are, where they're coming from. And your response, interaction with them will depend on where they're coming from, on where they are, what they're experiencing themselves. That is a quality of sensitivity. It comes from a quality that's called loving kindness, which is a quality that comes from boundless consciousness, but expresses itself through the individual as a kind of delicacy and gentleness, sensitivity that allows attunement and empathy. But relationship is more than just being kind to another person. Relationship implies also love. Love and kindness, not exactly love. Love is more like, when you say I love somebody, there's implicit in it that you like them. No? Do you love somebody without liking them? I mean, there is love without liking, and that is what you call universal love. When the boundless itself, when the boundless expanse is pure love, which we can experience. That as a pure love. I remember when I first experienced that, I was in Hawaii, just got to Hana, the sort of tropical part of Hawaii, the jungle part, and we drove all the way from the airport, and I'm tired, so I lie in bed, turn on the TV, and there's a cowboy movie going on. And for some reason, I had this odd feeling that I'm there in the TV. I am this cowboy. I said, that's odd. What does that mean? I'm there. So I said, well, let me check this out. I go out, and there's the tree. I feel I'm in the tree. I'm in that tree. I'm in the sky. I realize I'm everywhere. And as I realize I'm everywhere, I realize I am this effulgent, beautiful golden love that fills the whole universe. I am this love. Everything is love. That is the boundless as love. And from that boundless love, which many gurus have, but from this boundless love, there is love for everybody. However, everybody is generic, everybody. There's no appreciation of uniqueness. You love them because they are love. And love is natural. You love everything and everybody, and everything is love, and you love everything. That's what I tried to talk about yesterday, that you are to love everything and everybody. But because from this love, of course, you love everything and everybody because you are pure love. And you are the nature of everything which is love. However, that love can differentiate itself through the individual into different kinds of love, different flavors of love that make relationship possible. For instance, like in friendship, in familiar relationship, sometimes in love, an intimate relationship, you feel you really like somebody, you really enjoy them. Like if the mother with her babies, it's so yummy, I love them, I can eat them all up. What's that feeling? Where does it come from? You see, when most people feel it, but they don't know where it's coming from. You could recognize where it's coming from, which is nothing but the presence and the conscious true nature coming through the individual as a kind of quality of love whose expression is the feeling of I like, I enjoy, selflessly. It's not for me, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and I love it, and I love it, and I love ice cream, for instance. You say, I love my dinner, I love this movie. What do you mean by love? You see here. Do you feel the love? You feel it as an emotion, but the emotion, the outer expression of presence that is coming through the heart of the individual. When you begin to recognize what is that, if you are awake to consciousness, you can become aware of the consciousness of love itself, and you feel it as a softness, as a soft kind of sweetness. It feels sweet. It has a kind of a heavenly sweetness, and it feels fluffy, and after a while it feels like beautiful pink, like the pink roses, pink and beautiful and fluffy, like the whole room is full of this beautiful pink cotton candy. And like your heart is like cotton candy, and you liking somebody is feeling that quality of consciousness that has the feeling of like. It is a sweetness that likes, and it likes whatever it focuses on, whatever it appeals to it. That is very important for human relationship. Without that kind of love, and usually we know the outer expression of it, I like somebody, but do you feel, when you really feel, if you are awakened and you feel this love, you feel it as a fullness, as a soft fullness, but a fullness, a richness, and you feel full of this kind of sweet, light, kind of cutting candy quality of consciousness that has smell of roses. I mean, the whole air begins to smell like beautiful kind of pink roses. And you understand, what does liking come from? But that is one quality, there are many qualities of love. When you are awakened and you get into the spiritual realm more deeply than just knowing I'm consciousness. Well, okay, that's good. But that is the beginning of the non-dual life. Then you begin to learn about what are the secrets of consciousness, what are its potential, what are the secrets of being, what are its potential. Because that's what enlightened people live. They don't just live as consciousness, live the secrets that are implicit in the consciousness or the true nature that manifest, reveal themselves as one lives, as a new ways of being, new ways of experiencing. And that can happen in non-duality, or can sometimes happen, this pink lighting, even when you are in a non-dual state, that can arise in your heart, and you feel full of love. In fact, most people, when they experience spiritual experiences, they are in a dualistic condition. Haven't you noticed? Most people who talk about non-duality, most of the time, they are in ordinary states, not in non-dual state. Once in a while, they're in non-dual state, they know about it. But even when you are in an ordinary state, you're connected to some kind of reality, some kind of truth, some kind of authenticity. just beginning about what the heart is, what makes relationship possible. Because liking somebody doesn't make somebody feel necessarily, I want to live with them, or I want to stay with them, I want to be close with them all the time. That has to do with our true nature expressing itself as another quality of love. That many of you know, the love that make you feel you want to be close, you want to be intimate, you want to be connected, is not just liking, it's more a sense of feeling connected all the way to, after a while, you don't know where one ends and the other begin. We call it merging. The two consciousnesses sort of merge. The two individual consciousnesses sort of interpenetrate and become like one puddle, one sphere, one medium of a new kind of love. And this love, when you experience it, it's melty, it's sweet in a different way than the pink love, but it has a sense of contentment, has a sense of nourishment, has a sense of inner radiance. And when you see it, it is like, because when the spiritual experience matures, there's a seeing besides smelling. And because most people, when they talk about consciousness, they talk about feeling, sensing, intuition, not about seeing and smelling and all that. All those are actually possible, and mature spiritual experience. When we get to this kind of love, which is very important for relationship, because relationship has to do with connection. It's not just relating, but connection. And connection has to do with this kind of love that I call merging love, which is the wanting to merge, the feeling, I want to be close. You feel sense of melting. A sense that when you are with the other, you're melted, your consciousness, your sense of form, so melt into the form of the other. And in fact, when people are in love, they want to have that experience. They want to become one, so that they are one puddle of golden, beautiful, radiant love. And that's how it looks. It looks like honey with the sunlight shining through it. Except it's not as sticky as honey and more delicate than honey. There is no substance on earth like this merging kind of golden love. But it is really the essence of connection. The essence of connection, the essence of relationship, the essence of community. It is what makes, it is sort of the essence of the limbic system. The limbic system is necessary for all these to happen, but it's not the source of them. And that's why, AI cannot experience love, because love is consciousness. Pure consciousness doesn't come from the brain. Consciousness comes through the brain and differentiates. Maybe the brain helps it differentiate the different qualities and more precisely. So I got to the golden love, which is, I want to talk about several. Golden love is important for relationship. This conference is about relationship and love. We're seeing here the relationship of love and relationship. There's liking, which is what I call the pink love. There is connection, which is the golden love. See, the golden love is from between one and another, or within a community. A whole community can become a puddle or a field of transparent golden sweetness, a heavenly sweetness. When you taste it, it's like, and you don't taste it just with your mouth. It begins maybe with the mouth, but the taste is with the heart. You feel the taste is all the way through the whole consciousness. The consciousness could be bigger than the body. You see, it could fill the whole room. But it's individual. With that individual, there is no relationship. The other kind that some of you are wondering about, where did it come from, is when you fall in love, and when the feeling is not just I like him or her, Not just I want to feel close and intimate and sort of melt into each other in some kind of blissful thing, just like happens after a wonderful orgasm, But more like you feel passionate. You want this person passionately. You love them passionately. And the passion has a sense of intensity, a sense of uncontrollability, a sense of zest, and a sense of power, and a sense of force, and a sense of, yes, I like this, I want it. And then there's a passion, intensity, and the interesting thing, we know, everybody has passion and passionate love, which you feel with other human beings, especially when you're in love with them. But even the mother with her child, sometimes she feels passion. Love it, want it. My child, no? Yeah, sometimes I wonder what's it like to be a mother, if I can just be a mother. See what, but I feel it with other people, you see, that kind of love. And, and you don't have to be passionately in love with somebody to feel that passionate love. You could feel it with the divine. As an individual, you could feel it with your true nature. All those kind of love that can be with another human being, or it could be in relationship with the divine source, with the Brahman, with God, with that's the devotional part. The devotional part is not only longing and yearning and tears and all of that. No, but there's love. When it comes closer to the union, there is love. There's pink love. There's liking. And there is wanting to be close, wanting to be one. And then there's passion. I love it so much. I want to become so much part of it. I want to completely disappear, and only the beloved remains. That's called passionate, ecstatic love. But when you feel it, you don't feel just passion. There's an ecstasy, an intensity of an ecstasy. I call it passion, ecstatic love, and its color is deep pomegranate. And it tastes zesty, like a very ripe, beautiful, sweet pomegranate at the prime of its ripening. And your heart feels full of like that. Your consciousness is full of that. And you feel that toward another person, to your beloved, or toward something, or much of the time in the bhakti path, toward the beloved. Because toward the beloved, you don't just want to merge. You want to annihilate. You want to disappear. You want the beloved to take you in, and there'll be only the beloved. And when you become only the beloved, then again you're the boundless, infinite, non-dual being. But the non-dual being, the boundless, the infinite, the inner beloved, has gotten to know itself through the lover. You see, in Western mysticism, the spirituality is always between the individual soul and the divine. The development of the individual soul is much more important than transcendence, than the experiencing of pure awareness or consciousness. That's not important in Western spirituality. What's important is for the soul to develop, which is the individual consciousness. That's what they call the soul. Or to mature and develop so it becomes open and feel transparent to the love, the passion, the drive to closeness, to merging all the way to disappearing into the beloved, and the beloved takes its place in the heart of the lover. And you realize you are the beloved after all. The beloved has always been in your heart. That's why Rumi and others said, don't look for me in the pagodas and the mosques and the mosque or the synagogue. Look for me in the heart of my lovers. That is what the divine in Western spirituality, that's how it expresses itself. So it comes back again to the non-dual, but here the non-dual expresses itself as an individual. An individual can have a relationship with other individuals through capacities, potentialities implicit in the boundless, infinite, timeless spirit, but it becomes manifest through the individual. It doesn't manifest through rocks. You know, it would be hard to imagine a mountain feels passionate. It will be difficult to imagine the sky feeling merging. You know, I want to merge. I want to sort of feel so sweet, melty, and or I like them. It is a being, a human being, a living being, which are a being of consciousness. So, important thing for us to recognize, we're not only a person who's a body who's conscious and has thoughts and feeling. The consciousness is an expression of the fact that we are consciousness. And when I say we are conscious, I don't mean just cosmic consciousness. We are cosmic consciousness, but we are also individual consciousness. They're two sides of the same thing. The cosmic consciousness expresses itself into individual consciousness, and this individual has the same purity, the same timelessness as the boundless cosmic consciousness, but expresses itself individually with all the qualities implicit, the perfection, it's called the spiritual perfection, implicit in the true nature and the pure consciousness and awareness, which become explicit, obvious, and manifest through the individual, through our relational capacities, which require attunement. Empathy. I didn't mention the color of that loving light. Emerald green. Beautiful emerald green. The whole room can be full of emerald green. And the kindness is almost like sadness, but it is more really a softness and a tenderness that make us be able to be relational, allow the relational possibility in the sense of empathy and sensitivity and attunement. But the relational capacity requires other thing, which is what does it mean? How to be appropriate in a relationship? How do you know where the person is? How do you know their uniqueness? How do you know where they're coming from? That is another thing that comes from cosmic consciousness, that manifests with the individual with the sense of personalness. As Ashana said just it is transcendent, but it's really personal. He didn't say what personal is. What is personal? What does it mean to be personal? Most people don't know. They can be personal, but they never really recognize the essence of personalness. It turned out to know the personal is more difficult than to know the transcendent. The personal is unique for a developed, mature individual consciousness and mature to be a person of being. Not only individualized consciousness, but a personal that recognizes the other human being is also a person. What does a person mean? It doesn't mean just individual. A person means they have their own unique qualities and inner subjectivity and in their own inner experience, and you recognize it and you respond to it and you are attuned to it and you recognize it and you see its preciousness and you might want to be with them, be more merging love arises, or you might just like them and pass on to the other person, and the passion might arise only with some people or another, of course, with some kind of desserts too. The passion can arise with a sport or dessert or movie or something like that. So really what I'm talking about, what I'm unfolding, what I'm unveiling is the richness of our spiritual nature that inform our relationship, that makes our relationship possible, because the personalness is what is the heart of relationship for a human being. To relate is to be personal with another. Not everybody knows how to be personal. Some people are schizoid. Some people are non-feeling. They act like AI. Many people actually act like, many of your doctors are like that, right? You're just the next patient. It's just, you might as well put an AI, you see. They look at your chart. I usually challenge my doctors. I educate them. I talk with them. How's your wife? Things like that. I try to make them a little bit human before they start looking at my charts. Otherwise, I'm another AI. And I don't want to be an AI, conscious agent or otherwise. I am a being, a true individual being that expresses the being of the universe. Without me, the being of the universe cannot know and express itself. We as human beings are precious, not just because as human beings we can be enlightened. No, as a human being, we allow the divine to express itself, express its quality. It doesn't express its quality through inanimate matter. It expresses itself through life that has developed and matured to have intelligence and responsiveness and all the qualities of love that I'm talking about. And the other thing about the heart that makes relationship possible, for instance, fulfillment. You feel fulfilled sometime in something, in relation to somebody, in a relationship. You feel fulfilled in your life. What's fulfillment? It's like other quality. When you taste it, it's like ripe apricot. It's the most delicious apricot there is. Heavenly apricot that fills your consciousness. And there is gratitude. What is gratitude? It's not an emotion. It is actually a quality of consciousness. That when you feel it, it's gratitude. Well, gratitude means something really works. Something is working. Something is workable. And that is being, through nature, giving you the sign that it worked by arising in you as gratitude, like you're grateful to somebody, to a situation. And when you feel the gratitude, the heart is full. It's a kind of love. So as you see, there are many kinds of love that are important for relationship, that make relationship be varied, different kinds of combination of relationship, depending which quality is more dominant. Is it the liking, pink love? Is it the merging, closeness, intimacy, golden love? Or is it the passionate, zesty, ecstatic love? And some, even intimate relationships, some of them are more mergy, so they tend to love to huddle and cuddle and stuff like that. And some relationships are more passionate, zesty. They have to get it on. And it has to be hot, you see. And some people can have both. That is more complete. But the pink love is very essential for all of them. So, I covered as much of it. I hope you got something of what I'm talking about. Because when I say something, I am what I say. So hopefully you felt it in your heart. Your heart is open to feel it. And I'm running out of time, although as being, I am timeless.